Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Alex Weiner about Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. He, of course, voices Rocket in the video game that is just taking the internet and the world by storm these days. Alex, welcome to the show, man. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much. Good to see you too, man. Appreciate it.
It's pretty good. I mean, fresh off Best Narrative at the Game Awards. I mean, I'm sure the vibes are pretty good for you and the team right now.
Oh man, the vibes are amazing. Honestly, if not one of the highlights of my life, probably definitely the highlight of the week. We were all plugged in watching the Game Awards, and I think we were kind of, we were up against some big hitters there, and maybe an underdog in a way, but winning Best Narrative is amazing, and it's just a testament to Mary DeMarle and the writing team and what they created.
It's amazing. Now, we have a lot of mutual friends and everything. From what I know, this project for you and the whole your cast members for the project, this was a long time coming. Like, you've been working on this for quite some time.
Oh man, absolutely. Around 4 years.
Yeah,
is the first time we started working on it. Absolutely, a long time.
Has it hit you that it's finally out and people are playing the game?
That's a great question. It's a whole experience, isn't it? I've never experienced something of this caliber. Meeting the community, and there's an amazing virtual photography community that they take pictures in the game. That's a whole new thing. Oh, yeah. So yeah, it's been hitting me in waves, right? And what's kind of funny is that when this game dropped, I had gastro. So I had this horrible, I know, it's like, it hit me so bad. I had a fever. I won't get into the details. No one wants to hear that. So, that was my first experience with the game, was being in bed. My wife wanted to play it, so I got to watch the whole game through her eyes for 1 week. But yeah, I mean, it's you work on something for 4 years. Obviously, there's the aspect of you can't talk about it, right? Like
yeah,
a lot
exactly.
Of these games or big projects, you've interviewed people. I'm sure it's the same way, and you gotta
100%.
You hold on to the secret for 4 years, right? And you want to tell people, but you can't. And then when it comes out, it's a bit of a delayed response in a way. But what kind of curbs that is just the response that we got from the fans.
Exactly. It's like amazing. Worth the wait, so to speak, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. It
Absolutely.
really is.
It's really cool too, because the game's getting amazing response. You go on YouTube, like all the reviews and everything, and but I mean, a game like that is just so layered and so dynamic and just looks so good. I mean, it's a slam dunk, man. Like I'm just, it feels like that. Is it cool to see how quick the internet response was to the game? Because it's one of those things, like, it drops. Sometimes, like, a lot of shows, you have friends at a lot of shows, like Jess Camacho, Lock and Key. Like, sometimes it's a slow burn, right? People don't have as much time right away, but they watch it over. This one, it's like people play it right away. People pre-order it. Did it blow your mind how quick the response was?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a symptom of being a part of something like this for the first time too. And I had no idea how quick it would be. I think you're really onto something there. It's an aspect of the internet, right? It's the aspect of the speed. And plus, a lot of the reviewers had it, let's say, a week before to be able to do previews. So already there's like these inklings of the quality coming out, but then the community, you got all these streamers, you got all these people that they make their living doing this, right? These games come out, they play them for their fans right away. A lot of people want to look at other people play it too, obviously, before they even get a sense of it. So because the response was so positive right away, as you say, it really, really helped. I mean, it's make it or break it. And these games, it's a similarity to movies and TV too. Video games in particular live off the players, right? So they are what make it possible for games to have that success. So it's very much entwined in that. Absolutely.
That is so cool. And it's funny because, and every time I have a guest from like the, geek culture, nerd culture, video game culture, I always love asking this question because, we both went to Dawson College in Montreal.
Yes, we did.
And
yes.
I don't know if we had, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I talked to Jesse about it. I don't know if I think it sounds like we were the same year, but we just didn't have classes together.
Maybe. Were you in cinema?
I was, yeah. I was in SynCom. So I had classes
with God.
Erica Deutschman. I had classes with her and everything. That's how I know everyone.
I was a year under you.
Gotcha.
Which is probably why.
Yeah. So there's some amazing there's some amazing people that are doing amazing things that were in our program. So I
Oh
just,
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yourself included.
Thank you. Well, man, it's crazy to see it, and it's cool that like especially me and Jesse like we had we didn't have any. He went to go work on Less Than Kind, so he left us.
Yeah.
but.
Yeah.
I like kept in touch with him from the Dawson days like till this day. Like we're talking, this is like I don't want to date this to make us seem old, but this is like a long time ago. But I mean,
Yeah.
geek culture, nerd culture was always around. You know, it was always big. It's exploded to the point where it's like cool to be a geek. It's cool to be a nerd. One, do you find that weird? And two, when did you notice that kind of explosion?
God, do I find it weird that geeks are cool? I mean, that's such a good question. I mean, it's like I think it's
It's
been
like it's mainstream.
It is mainstream. It is mainstream. Absolutely. I mean, look, there's some factors, right? Like video games, I do believe they are the future, right? So they're becoming one of the major aspects of media. So by accessory, it becomes quote unquote cool, right? Because a lot of people want to play games, and you've got games for everybody. What's amazing about Guardians, obviously, is honestly, is that it's almost people have called it a cinematic video game in terms of it's an interactive movie. The gameplay's fantastic too, but I mean. I'll use my wife again. She's not a gamer. She loved it because the story is so dynamic and fantastic. And then the gameplay's there, the combat's there for people that are more refined gamers. So you can find anything for anyone, right? So I mean, when did I notice that cool becoming geek? You know, I was in high school. I was a geek, and I was trying to make it cool. I don't know. I always.
But if we were wearing a Marvel shirt, we'd probably be teased. Now that's not the case, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I guess you can thank the MCU for that, right? And this is a huge. I mean, we've lived through a crazy 20 years, right? Where media has been very much defined by these multiverses. You know?
Yeah, I saw when about on the Dawson College days. I saw the transition a little bit where it was like cool to be into like anime and all that. Like I saw that a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Anime, absolutely. Look, you know, I'll say it here. I play Magic the Gathering, and you know, right? It's like arguably the nerdiest thing you could possibly do.
Yes.
And you know, now I feel comfortable enough to go to a party and be like, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" Like, "Yeah, I'm gonna play some Magic the Gathering," and I'm confident that I won't get made fun of. But in high school, I mean, Magic the Gathering, I was dating this girl once, and she said, "Man, if you get into Magic the Gathering, I will break up with you." And I wasn't into it then, but you know, I just think back on that, and I'm like, wow, it has changed.
It's funny because I'm not gonna actually like name them, but I have some people in my. So we have like even before COVID, we'd have like board game nights and everything.
Sure.
There'd always be two people in the friends group though. At the end of the night, that would kind of go to the little table and play Magic the Gathering.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it's a great game.
It's a lot of fun and everything. Voice acting, voiceover work. What do you kind of enjoy about that kind of facet of the entertainment industry specifically? Because in terms of the experience of like, you know, actually like recording and doing it, like sometimes you don't necessarily have to be in set. You could be recording things from your house type thing. So what's that like for you? Like, what do you like about voice acting compared to other kind of facets of the entertainment industry?
Look, I mean, voice acting gives you the ability to, I'd say, one, use your imagination a lot more, and especially motion capture, because, you know, we have to remember that this video game was full performance capture, right? So all the cinematics you see, we're on a mocap set, we have mocap suits on, they're capturing body, voice, and face. And when we do the banters in the game, which is everything through gameplay, you know, we're all in a room together just doing voice and face. So they're capturing that too. But by accessory, you're using your imagination a lot more, and I like that about this part of the business. You know, it's kind of like playing cops and robbers in your driveway when you're a kid. You know, you have to imagine everything. I can't tell you the amount of times Daryl Purdy, our director, comes on set, you know, and we're us four in these weird suits, and we got nothing around us, and he says, "All right, guys, look, there's going to be a massive spaceship crashing right over there. Alex, you got to dodge a rock, and you've just got to totally commit to this imaginative experience that you're living there." I find it kind of freeing in that way. When you're on set, let's say on a live action film, obviously you have a lot of stuff to work with, right? You have a set, you have props, you have another actor to work off of a lot of the time. But what that does is it puts you in another place, right? You have constraints in a way which is defined by this reality that you have in front of you. When you are forced to use your imagination, kind of like a kid, on these sets, you have to tap into that, and possibilities come out of it. And 100%. Another thing I think that's super important about voice acting and video games is you can play more characters that obviously you wouldn't play in real life. I mean, look, I played a talking raccoon, even though he's not a raccoon, but you know, I mean, like, when is that going to happen? And you know, It goes anything from Mantis, another amazing character in our game. You know, she's a green alien with, you know, with antennae. You know, she was played by Emmanuel Martinez, right? And you have a lot more freedom in these things. Cosmo the talking dog was played by another guy, right? And he even provided a little bit of movement for it sometimes on the face. So it's very, very interesting. It's a lot more freedom.
What was your mindset when, you know, it's confirmed that you're going to provide the voice of Rocket the Raccoon? Like everything's kind of set in stone, right? You're going to go in and do it. What's that mindset like in terms of preparation? Is there a lot of, you know, is the excitement kind of overtake the pressure? Like, I'm just curious what your mindset is before you work on a big project like this a little bit.
Absolutely. So look, that question's come up a lot. I think it's a great question because it is really a balance between pressure and excitement, right? You know, when you're auditioning for stuff like this, you don't really know what it is. They talk about codes. You know, you get these scenes and you can kind of surmise what it is if you're smart enough, obviously. And then there's that day when you get the call from your agent, right? And they say you booked it. And then there's the day you go in for the first table read and they tell you exactly what it is. So all of your assumptions are correct at that point. And then it kind of hits you. Okay, so the first thing is, you know, you're going to be portraying a legendary character, a character that we all know now because of the MCU. So that's where the pressure came from for me. Was okay. You know, there's a portrayal out there, you know, and it's a fantastic portrayal. And especially with Rocket, right? Because it's all voice in that way. We did motion capture, and I think I'm actually the first person to actually do a full performance in terms of body, voice, and face at the same time, right? But what is unbelievable about this game is that Square Enix and Eidos Montreal, and Eidos Montreal specifically, created a unique experience, a unique universe, a separate timeline. So we weren't bound by the rules of the MCU. We weren't bound by the story set up by it. We had our own authentic and unique backstories that were given to us on day one. So the pressure is there, but the excitement comes from the freedom that Eidos and Mary DeMarle and you know, JF gave us to actually do it our own way. And that was the first thing they said on day one. They said, we're not copying anything. We're starting our own story with our own characters, and they're all unique. So they wanted us to bring our own unique perspectives and our own unique characteristics to it. So, like, you know, what I would say is throughout the process, there is that pressure. And I'll let you in on something. I stopped watching the Guardians movies. I haven't watched them since. And for me, it's just as an actor, I wanted to stay close to the Rocket that I'm going to create. And there's no comparing because
I've heard things like that before too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's like, you know, two actors, you can't compare. If both people are giving their own truthful portrayal, it's like it's two renditions of it. So,
but it's a video game. It's not the movie, right? I feel like people just assume there's an assumption also, even with like remakes and reboots of movies and TV shows, people just kind of go with that mindset that, oh, it should be like the original.
Absolutely. I mean, they have that assumption because they don't know what they're going to get, right? They don't know what to expect. And that's a daring risk, I think, that Eidos took, is to do something totally new. And Marvel also, you know, like to trust Eidos with a unique take on the characters. So you're taking that risk. And when the game's good enough, which thankfully it was, like people right away said, okay, it's not like that. It's something totally different, right?
I know. It's so crazy. Now, Alex Weiner's a storyteller. That's what you do. Whether it's the acting stuff, the voice acting, the writing, the producing, like you're a storyteller. That's what you do.
Thank you very much.
What excites you about storytelling?
Oh, wow. What excites me about storytelling? Well, I don't know. I think stories are quite important in society. I think they're one of the oldest forms of communication. You could argue that a lot of communication is a story in general.
Cinema communications.
Yeah, right? There you go. Like that's the Syncom stuff coming out. You know, man, I think it's about, I've always been a very imaginative person. And my dad is probably the reason I'm an actor. Every week when I was a kid, he would go rent 3 VHS tapes from Blockbuster, right? If we remember what that is. And I grew up on watching Pacino, De Niro, and then action movies. You know, I think the first movie he rented me was Terminator. So he set me up to start to really, really enjoy stories. And that, I think what excites me the most about stories now is the ability to kind of, I think, to communicate with the audience in a way where you're going to operate from a place of truth and you're going to bring something unique. You're going to trust yourself. and you're going to kind of inspire people. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who works at Doctors Without Borders one day, and I told him, like, man, like what I do is nothing compared to what you do, right?
Yep.
You go out and you save lives. And he says, yeah, but at the end of the day, when I've been working in Africa, let's say, I go watch a movie, and you're the one who kind of helps me. So
Provides
I think
escapes,
it's a necessary
absolutely.
part of it. It's an escape.
No.
Yeah.
It's an escape, absolutely. So like when people, play the video game, they're gonna hear your voice. They're not gonna see you. But shameless plug over here, like what I'm doing here. They want to see what see you. You recur in episode 1 of Crossroads, which is
yes.
available on Popternative TV. You play Buddy.
Yeah, go watch it, guys. It's really amazing.
Go watch it. When you work on a big project like this, though, it kind of ties into the Crossroads thing. I mean, are you the type of guy that after you work on a big project, you need some kind of a break, kind of to soak everything in, take it easy? Or are you like, let's go make another movie, let's go make something? Like, what's the mindset? Does it depend on the project?
I mean, it can depend on the project. I'm much more of the latter. And, you mentioned I'm a storyteller. I write a lot, or try to write, I guess. Like writing is a futile pursuit, I feel. But it's something you have to do.
Yep.
I'm also on Twitch, right? So I think I've always got something going on, but there is a bit of a low sometimes, especially with more dramatic roles. When I was in Clyde Cynic, Clyde Cynic, we toured South Korea with that. And that movie was a very dark film. And I get very invested in my characters. 100%. And I'm learning to kind of protect myself a bit sometimes. But I was 22 when I did that. I had a lot to learn, and I went really deep into some dark places, and it affected me for a few months. So I needed a break then.
Yeah. I guess the answer to your question, too, is I guess it depends on the project.
It does. It does. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like there's some people, though, that are so passionate and energetic, like, that just, like, they always need a break. Because they're just like, it's like they're running in a fire almost, right? They're like, oh my God. They always need a break afterwards.
Maybe that's you. I don't know.
I feel like it might be, man, every time I do a junket or interview, everyone's like, thank you for your energy. I'm like, this is me. Like, I don't know what else. Like, this is just who I am.
There's so much to do and so little time, right? And it's...
Well, I just made a post recently that kind of, I don't know what viral is these days. It got a good amount of likes on it.
Good for you.
But it was like, it was something about like the word swamped is just amped with the S and the W in the way. So kind of just like make time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like be excited about everything and make time for everything. Like you can.
Absolutely, you can. I mean, there's some basic human stuff I think that can help, right? Like, I like to get up in the morning. I established a morning routine about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
A half-hour morning routine, 15 minutes of yoga, 15 minutes of meditation, glass of water, just setting up the day in a way where you can be the best version of yourself. That can help. It's when you stop taking care of yourself, I think that it can be a bit.
But another thing too is I don't want to be super naive here. Like I don't know exactly, but like what we're doing right now, like in the entertainment, like a lot of us. Don't forget, like we want to do this full time, this to be our thing, but it's not, right? Like we also have day jobs and everything.
Oh man, well that's such a good point, Peter. Because I've always considered the work to not be the work, right?
Yeah.
The work when I'm on set, I'm having a great time. Like I had a great time every single day shooting Guardians of the Galaxy because you're playing, you're being a kid. The work is everything else.
Yeah,
the day jobs, the periods of uncertainty. We both know what being a creative is like. And
well, the work too is the audition. Like when you book the role and go work on it, that's like the vacation almost. Some actors have told me.
It's so true. I mean, auditions, it's a mental game, right? And it changes. I think I've noticed, if I can say something personal, I've noticed as I've gotten older with age, I hit 30 this year. When the realities of, being in a relationship, thinking about buying a house, thinking about having kids, these things start coming up. It's easy to be excited for auditions when you're 18 and you got nothing to lose. But as you get older and the responsibilities come in, that idea is like, I got to book this.
And you also have to make choices about what direction you got to do. And sometimes it doesn't feel like time is on. You know what they say when you're like 22, it's like time's on your side. And then you snap your fingers and you're 30 and it's like, oh shit.
God, don't even get me started on that. Jeez, where did it all go, man?
I talk to Jesse about this all the time. We've been talking about like collaborating on stuff for a while. It's just like, and then like 2 years later, we're doing all these other things. He's doing Lock and Key, Popternative's kind of taking off, and it's like, didn't we say we were going to work on something like 3 years ago? And it's just sitting there. Like, It's so crazy, man.
Mhm.
But Alex, I wanted to thank you so much for coming on Popternative. It was great chatting with you, man. Seriously.
It's my pleasure, Peter. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. So yeah, they can play the game. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. They're going to be able to hear you, and it's funny because you can't say like see you, right? Like they're not going to recognize you.
Well, you
you're
know what?
you're a raccoon.
Yeah, but you won't see me, but you will see me. You're gonna see everything I did, body, face, and I gotta say, we are actors, but it's not possible without the animators, right?
Oh no.
To accentuate everything.
And the
Um,
think about the deadlines they're on too, right? That's something no one talks about either, right? Like the deadlines.
the deadlines are rough, but I do want to say that Eidos Montreal is one of the first companies to establish a 4-day work week in
Yeah,
Montreal. So
amazing.
they take, man, I gotta say, like I loved working there. They take care of their people. They have amazing company culture, and I think they're really a great example of a company that takes care of people. Because yeah, that is the thing in video games and movies, man. The deadlines, the work hours, and hopefully we're moving towards something where the human capital is taken care of a little bit more.
100%, man.
Yeah.
And where can people follow you on social media to keep update with everything? You're pretty active on your Instagram, right?
I'm pretty active on Instagram. I stayed away from Twitter because I don't know. I just never did it and blah, blah, blah. But you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok, and you can find me on Twitch. We have a lot of fun on Twitch. All of those are at officially a Weiner.
Amazing. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes, popternative.com for other content as well. Till next time, this is Alex Weiner and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.